So I've spent a couple of days putting together a typical Queens of the Stone Age Josh Homme tone here on my HX Stomp. I'm going to take you through all the blocks so you can follow along. I'm doing a overall early Queens of the Stone Age tone, and you can use different settings on the amp and the pedals before to adjust and get closer to different songs and different albums. I think it is possible using this setup to get pretty close actually. And everything here is based around the Stone Age 185 amp. I did try some other stuff, some bass amps. I did try the Twin 12, which was probably the second closest that I got, but this one definitely works the best. And I've seen Josh with this amp. It is based on the Gibson EH 185. And I've seen Josh using that with them Crooked Vultures. So you can see my settings right here. For now, I'm going to turn off the overdrive and EQ before the amp. Very boomy, bass heavy, not as focused and driven as the Queen's tone. And that is exactly what I can hear when I use my Ampeg VT40 in the room, like the real Queens of the Stone Age amp. It sounds very much like this. You need to push it with one or more pedals to get the right sound. I'm not doing too much of the mid thing. I've actually found that in many cases, you don't have to push the mids that hard. You're doing some with the pedal, with the overdrive pedal, and I'm doing some with a EQ pedal, but turning up the mids on the amp gets, yeah, it's too much. It works for some songs, but not most of them, I would say. And I'm using a 4x10 tweed cabinet. A 410 is really important for the Queen's tone. I've done a lot of experimenting up and through the years, and definitely 4x10 is the way to go. I'm using a ribbon mic. Yeah, you can see all the settings right here. I did try everything. I did try a lot of other cabinets as well. This is definitely the one that worked the best for me. And then we need to add a EQ pedal. I'm pushing around 500 Hertz. You could push more as well, but again, I found that too much mids, it's sort of like messing up the tone, especially when I compare it to some soloed guitar tracks that I found on the earlier albums. So we are getting a tiny bit closer. Have you ever tried to Google your own name or email address? I did that the other day, and man, there's so much information on the internet connected to my name and email address. And I know it's not just me, it's probably like that for you as well. Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. So your full name, email, home address, health records, your relatives, it is all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submit opt-out requests for me. Using Aura, I discovered a lot of data brokers that were selling my information, and it automatically took care of them all. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam that I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access my social media accounts, bank accounts, or other sensitive information. Aura also does so much more to protect me and my family from online threats that we can't see. And it's really easy to use and set up, so I don't have to download several different apps to get things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more. I get everything at one affordable price. And you may already have 1 or 2 of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping me safe so I can focus on other tasks with peace of mind, like learning how to sweep on my guitar, for example. I value my privacy and I value yours. You can go to aura.com livingroomgd and start your 2-week free trial. Also linked down below in the description. For the Overdrive, I'm doing the Stupor OD, which is the SD1. I'm not sure if Josh did use the SD1 like this. I know that he did use one early on, but for me it works really well. To turn up the level, turn down the drive, I do sometimes use a tiny bit of drive. You can see that I have it on just a tiny bit here, and I'm boosting the tone quite a bit. That will remove a lot of that low end. In the beginning, it sounds like it's taking away too much, but again, I did some A/B testing up against some actually recorded Queen's tones, and it is pretty close. And if you feel that you are missing some bass, turn that up on the amp, for example. So that's the OD that I'm using. I'm turning up and down the drive depending on what song I want to try to replicate. I can also use the volume knob on the guitar to turn down again. And let's see what other things I'm doing. I'm using a delay. Like a slapback delay with a lot of repeats, a analog one. I'm using the Bucket Brigade model inside the HX Stomp. A very typical Queens of the Stone Age thing live. And after the amp and the cabinet, I'm doing a couple of things. I've added a retro reel, which is a tape simulation. And I found that just improved my tone. It made it sound more analog, even though it's of course all zeros and ones inside of this, but I think it sounds better with this one. And then for my last block, I have put in a compressor. Yes, and that also just makes it a tiny bit more real for me. Of course, you get a volume increase there as well, so that's a tiny bit of placebo going on, but yeah, I like the compressor. And also I did add a global EQ with a high pass and a low pass, and that makes it sound more like a real amp instead of just a digital product. So the low cut is around 60 Hertz. You can go up to 80 if you want to, and my high cut is 8K, which is kind of aggressive, but I feel that you remove a lot of that digital harshness when you go all the way down to 8K. But try to experiment and see what you like. But this is really important, in my opinion. Definitely works pretty good to my ears. Let me know if you try this and how it works for you. If you don't have a Helix or HX Stomp, let me know how the sounds are in this video. If you think I got any close. Thank you for watching. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Goodbye.